Hello students, today we are going to see a new lesson, A Crow in the House. The story is taken from Ruskin Bond's grandfather's private zoo. Ruskin Bond's story revolves around his love for nature, and in this lesson he discusses about a pet crow and his behavior and how, although on one hand he is considered to be a pet by the author and his grandfather. On the other hand, by the same crow, considered as a pest by the author's grandmother. Okay, so now let's see the story. The young crow had fallen from its nest and was fluttering about on the road, in danger of being crushed by a cart or a tanga or seized by a cat when I picked it up and brought it home. Here you can see the young crow was injured. So the author picked it up and brought it home. It was in a sorry condition, big gaping and a head dropping, and we did not expect it to live. The crow was in a bad condition, so the author and his grandfather thought it will not alive. But grandfather and I did our best to bring it round. They both tried very much to leave it. We fed it by pressing its beak gently open with a pencil, pushing in a little beak and milk, and then removing the pencil to allow it to swallow. So they both opened his mouth with a pencil and put bread and milk in his mouth. We were to diet with occasional doses of grandmother's homemade plum wine, and as a result, the young crow was soon on the road to recovering. Here, Arthur's grandmother gave the bird homemade plum wine. Because of this, the crow recovered soon. He was offered his freedom, but he did not take it. Instead, he made himself at home in the house. When the crow recovered, he was free to fly in the open sky, but he decided to live with the author and his family. Grandmother, Aunt Mabel, and even some of grandfather's pets objected, but there was no way of getting rid of the bird. In Arthur's house, all objected to put the crow in their home. Okay. He took over the administration of the house. What happened here? The bird now started living in their home. Before long, Scissors was joining us at meal time, besides finding his own grubs or beetles in the garden. So, who is Scissors? Here, crow's name is Scissor, okay? So, the crow also joined to eat meat with family. He danced about on the dining table and gave us no peace until he had been given his small bowl of meat and soup and vegetable. What happened here? The crow, Caesar, entertained all the family members to get meat and soup and vegetables. He was always restless, figuring about investigating things. What happened? The crow was unable to relax. He was keeping and moving body because of excitement and always tries to find out all the facts about something. He would hop across a table or empty matchboxes of its content, or rip the daily paper to shreds, or overturn a vase of flowers or tug at the tail of one of the dogs. Here, what happened? See, he started crossing tables or matchboxes or daily newspapers or vase flower of was. And he tugged tail also. Whose? Dog's tail. The crow will be the ruin of us, grumbled her grandmother, picking marigolds off the carpet. Can't you keep him in a cage? Now what happened here? Author's grandmother shouted to keep the bird in a cage. We did try keeping Caesar in cage, but he was so angry and objected with such furs, carving and flapping, that it was better for our nerves and peace of mind to give him the run of the house. See here what happened when the author kept the crow in the cage, he became angry and tried to come out. So they decided to fly him away. He did not show any inclination to join the other crows in the banyan tree. But the crow was not ready to go with other birds. He wanted to leave Arthur's house. Grandfather said this was because he was really a jungle crow, a raven of sorts, and probably felt a little contemptuous of very ordinary Karen crows. Arthur's grandfather said that that was a jungle crow, so he felt contempt to live with other crows. But it seems to me that Caesar, having grown used to living with human on equal terms, had become snobbish and did not wish to mix with his own kind. But what happened here? We can see that the crow was ready to live with human beings, but not with other ordinary crows. Perching on top of Holt's cage, he would pick at the big bird's feet, whereupon Harold would swear and scold and try to catch Caesar through the bars. In time, Caesar learnt to talk little, as Ravan sometimes do in a cracked, throaty voice. Some days, Caesar learned to talk a little, but we know that Ravan's voice is throaty, but that Caesar learned talking. He would sit for hours outside the window, banging on the glass with his beak and calling, "Hello, hello." Whole day the crow banged glass with his beak and waiting, saying, "Hello, hello." He seemed to recognize the click of the gate when I came home from school. And would come to the door with a hop, skip, and jump, saying, "Hello, hello." Here we can see that when Arthur was coming home, he recognized the crow recognized who came, and he comes to door happily towards the author. I had also taught him to sit on my arm and say kiss, kiss, while he placed his head gently against my mouth. Author taught him to sit on his arms and to say kiss, kiss, and he's brought his head towards Arthur's mouth. On one of Aunt Mabel's visits, Caesar alighted on her arm and cackled, "Kiss, kiss," and Mabel was delighted and possibly flattered and leaned forward for a kiss. One day what happened? Auntie Mabel came Arthur's house. Then Caesar sat on her arms, saying kiss, kiss. So Aunt Mabel possibly gave him kiss. But Caesar's attention shifted to my aunt's gleaming spectacles and thrusting at them with his beak, he knocked them off. On the same time, when he started giving kiss to aunt, he saw auntie's spectacles. He thought it is a glass and he started thrusting his beak on glasses. Aunt Mabel never was a success with the pet. Aunt Mabel didn't become successful with pets. Pet or pest. Grandmother insisted that Caesar was a pest in spite of his engaging habits. After this incident, grandmother asked the author, "Is it pet or pest?" Here, pest means trouble. So, why she said because of his engaging habits? If he had restricted his activity to our own house, it would not have been so bad. Grandmother said if he will control his bad activities at our home, then it is okay. But he took to visiting neighboring houses and stealing paints and pencils, hair ribbons, combs, keys, shuttlecocks, toothbrushes, and false teeth. But what happened? We can see how the crow started stealing neighbors' different things. He was especially fond of toothbrushes and make a collection of them on top of cupboard in my room. We can see that he liked to collect toothbrushes and to keep them on the top of the cupboard in author's room. Most of the neighbors were represented in our house by a toothbrush. Many neighbors were coming author's house to buy toothbrushes. Toothbrush sales went up that year. So did grandmother's blood pressure. Because of Caesar's behavior, grandmother's blood pressure was became high. Caesar sped on children going into the Bunny's shop and often managed to snatch sweets from them as they come out. What happens here? When children going to shop to eat sweet, he snatched sweets from them. Clothing pegs fascinated him. Neighbors would return from the bazaar to find their washing laying in the mud and no sign of the pegs. The crow was putting all the clothes in the mud, and neighbors coming from bazaar were angry because of this. And who was stealing these pegs? Our Caesar. These two found their way to the top of my cupboard. It was Caesar's gardening activity that finally led to disaster. Caesar's like gardening, so one day he became in trouble. He was helping himself to our neighbor's beans when a stick was flung at him, breaking his leg. One day, what happened because of stick was flung, his leg broke. I carried the unfortunate bird home, and grandfather and I washed and bandaged his leg as best we could. So Arthur and his grandfather washed and bandaged his leg as possibly they could. But it would not mend. Caesar hung his head and no longer talked. After it, he was unable to talk. Who he? Caesar. He grew weaker day by day, refusing to eat. Now he became weak and didn't eat anything after that incident. An occasional sip of grandmother's homemade wine was all that kept him going. One morning I found him dead on the sofa, his legs stiff in the air. So one day what happened? Finally he died. Who? Caesar died now here. Poor Caesar. His antisocial habits had led to his early end. Because of his antisocial habit, led him die. I dug a shallow grave in the garden and buried him there, along with all the toothbrushes and clothes pegs he had taken so much trouble to collect. So the author dug a ditch in the garden and buried him along with all the favorite things like toothbrushes and cloth pegs. So I hope you like this story. Very interesting story it is. Thank you.